All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto you. How about Shema Shabbat, Shema Kakodash, double unto the apostles, the elders, great millstone, Shalom to all that came out to pushing the word of sincerity and the truth. Y'all want to do this lesson on how we're travelers in a land of strangers. You know, this, of course, first and foremost, we're behind enemy lines. All right, the enemy has held us captive. All right, in the beginning. All right, when America was set up, it was an enterprise based on slavery. All right, subduing nations, predominantly the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. Starting off with Gad, in the northern kingdom, the Latin tribes, and they made this whole of America, North, Central, and South America as a prison camp. This is a great prison camp. All right. That's why it tells you in Isaiah how the captive exile hasteth that he shall be loosed from the prison and that he shall not die in the pit. Doesn't always have to naturally refer to as an actual prison. Where you have correctional COs and things of that nature that's constantly monitoring you, whether population or solitary confinement. It's talking about the system on the whole. The system is likened unto a pit, and in this pit, it's to keep us at bay, or keep us underground. But through the spirit and power of the Lord, he's the Most High himself is going to send a deliverer to free us. That's why, made that lesson on making this lesson on how we're travelers in a land of strangers. When you go into our forefathers, faithful Abraham, these different men were sojourners. To sojourn, they just stayed for a short company of time or period of time, made company with amongst the nations. At times they even went to war with for certain nations. It speaks about David actually living in the land of Philistines, and he went to war with the Philistines. He was a sojourner, but the Spirit of the Lord delivered him from those situations and ordeals. When Abraham was traveling from land to land, and he dialogue with certain kings, he sometimes had to dang near fight for his life, and then he knew that he had to get up out of there. When you go into Israel, we always had to flee, even in this area and being subject to where we at now, this was a form of fleeing, and even Gad and the northern kingdom, they had to flee, and it tells you in Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, with King Hoshea, with Shalmaneser, the fifth, they had to actually, be on a run, and they had to go where never mankind dwelt, and they went here as a temporary settlement, because the whole world was likened unto Eden. But guess what? So-called white man turned this into a hellhole, so that's why it tells you that in Hebrews 13 and 14, for here we have no continuous city, but we seek one to come. Yeah, so we don't have no true city here. You might got certain areas that's named after Native Americans, but do those Native Americans actually own the land? You have Mississippi, I think Nebraska, Montana, these different areas are actually Gadite names, but those Gadites don't own Montana, Mississippi, these different states nor cities. They make them basically second or third class citizens. So we know for a fact that this is not our quarters. Scripture speak about in Psalms how Psalm 24:7. What they name the lands after their names. You go to these different areas where the so-called white man lives, and even the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's all Edomites, man. Ponce de Leon, You know, you have Jimmy Carter here in Atlanta. Let me see. You know, they got things different. You know, all the different presidents. You know, they have these different names on all these different streets and cities. You know, counties. You know, and even certain states that's named after the British and the European crowns. You know, and that's Esau stamping his superiority over you individuals. You know, they put English as the national language. They set up and subjugated you onto policy. You know, so you're constantly being oppressed. You're being down pressed by the foot of the oppressor. So this is Psalms 49:11. Or we are, you know, myself included. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Yeah, so calling it after your own name is a form of ownership, you know. So we don't have ownership. You know, you have that the game Monopoly, which is a turning many into one. You know, Esau owns the chessboard, and we're being subject onto it. You know, you fall on certain tax fines, you fall on certain things that's not your territory, and you have to pay the price, Jake. You know, that's why we have to move wisely in the spirit. You know, that's why it says going back, we don't have no city, but we seek one to come. So we have to put our energy into the kingdom to come. You know, that's why it tells you that in the Abanawa, you know, thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. You know, give us this day our daily bread. Because when the kingdom is set up, that's going to be truly our home. You know, the king's house. You know, the scriptures speak about how we're a nation full of kings and priests. But here it also tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes how, you know, basically the rich man sit in a low place. You know, so we have to be at the bottom until the Lord actually ascends us to the top. You know, we're in the lowest parts of hell, man. We're in the Hades later. You know, that's how we know that this is truly hell. This is the grave, the pit, you know, surrounded by skeletons that actually prosper, the dead. You know, the dead lives here. You know, while the living actually, you know, is you know, basically like we're looking and liking unto the hidden ones. You know, scriptures call us the hidden ones. But our job is to find those that are lively in the spirit to bring them back onto the light, you know, through the spirit. So that's the job, man. You know, and that's why, you know, we know that we're here, you know, sent down from the heavens for a reason, to retrieve the lost tribes of the nation of Israel, you know, because war is brewing, and these different wars will take place on a surreal level. You know, so with that, I'm going to end by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shema, Kakodash. Double honor to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Shalom, Hashem.